Have you had time to even kiss yet?
Definitely scrambled last minute. Pulled a fast one.
I'm unsure if it's genuine or not on Dylan's side, just because it's a very quick turnaround.
If you've been here a while, you know that when I stand someone, I stand. I don't care. I defend my person 10 toes. I stand behind them and I won't budge. Anyway, I am going to appoint myself a member of the Dylan Defense League. I do not care what happens. I will defend Dylan unless he does something that is very, very wrong. Then I might question it. But for now, I'm Team Dylan. The audacity of everyone to sort of question his motives. He has been a stand-up guy. When Mimi chose him, he told her that I'm not going to explore a connection with anybody else bar you, and he has stuck to that until she broke things off with him. So the audacity to say that is an F-boy. Oh my God, has my blood boiling. You dropped him. He's free to move on. This is part and parcel of Love Island, and I hope he stays there. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Australia, Season 6, Episode 9. Am I the only one who's questioning why we needed to see the girls having a conversation about the bombshell? That man didn't need to come into the villa as a bombshell. He really is not. Sadly, his appearance and his quirky behavior are not helping his situation at all. I doubt he'll find a girl to recouple with, unless the girls recouple with him just because they think he's going to keep them safe, because he won't be able to be voted out the first week, but then they'll jump ship as soon as possible, because otherwise there's nothing about him that stands out, and the girls will struggling to find something about him. Some were saying, oh, I like his look, and it's like, what exactly about his look do you like? Do you like the mullet? Do you like the mustache? What is it? It's not making sense. Some were saying we like that he's funny, and it's like, what is there that's funny about him? I didn't get what was funny about him. I really didn't. So I don't understand them sort of saying, oh, I like him, he's interesting. No, he's not. He really is not. And then the girls start sort of hearing from Hannah, who is upset at what happened in the hideaway. And it's like, this is not an argument that needs to be dragged. Really, it's not an argument that needs to be dragged. Just say you're looking for a storyline. The producers have nothing to produce. So they've decided to drag this conversation for what it's worth, because you have Hannah complaining to the girls that, they were in the hideaway and this man said, he wanted to have a bachelor party, and so she's very upset. Yes, she knows she's not marrying this man, and it's like, if you know you're not marrying this man, then why are we listening to this stupid conversation? Why are you having a back and forth with him? Just tell us your coupling is a convenient couple. You just want to be the couple of the season, the couple that stays together from day one until the end of the show. Make it make sense, and we'll understand you. You have on his part, Nico is complaining to the guys about the same thing. We've both been cheated on in the past, and so this is something that we struggle with, and I think this is why we didn't agree. And it's just like, just tell everyone, we're not in a romantic couple, we are in a convenient couple, and the problem is we were sent to the hideaway and we were not ready to pretend to sort of be making out in bed, and this is why we came up with this fight, so that we could use this as justification as to why we are not making out in the hideaway as we're supposed to. You have the girls go and freshen up and get ready for the morning, and Nico is trying to pull Hannah for a chat, and he had to wait for her for over an hour, and it's like, what is she doing for over an hour? You're just putting on a swimsuit and some makeup. Why does it take you an hour to get ready? I don't get it. I'm one of those people that as long as I know what I'm putting on, I'm in and out. As long as you've had a shower, even with a shower, you don't need an hour. So I don't know why she was doing that. I think she was just being impossible just for the sake of it. Eventually they sat down and they were sort of having this back and forth, and she felt aggrieved that why are you not giving me an opportunity to explain myself? You're talking over me. You're not giving me a chance to talk. And it's like, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. We really don't need to go that deep into something stupid. And why I feel like this was just for the cameras is because afterwards they said, oh, let's go back and be mommy and daddy of the group. We've finished fighting. And it's like, make it make sense. I don't get it, and I don't understand it. Seriously, I don't get Tommy. I really don't. Who on production approved Tommy coming into the villa? Did they bring him in to mock the people or what? Anyway, he has a conversation with Zanti, and I didn't get it. The fact that he was sort of high-fiving her tells me that he's not interested in her romantically, because you wouldn't high-five a girl unless you're interested in her romantically. So I don't even get why he's there. I think it's time for him to go home. I think he's just there for the holidays and to enjoy the sun. I thought there was a lot of sunshine in Australia, so I don't know what he's doing up there. You need to pack it up, either graft someone or go home. He had a conversation with Sydney and he was talking about his mullet and his mo. And it's like, seriously, there's a lot more things you could be talking about. Is this all you have to talk about? And that in itself didn't make any sense, because Sydney was asking him about how long did it take you to grow out your mullet? You are the typical Australian guy. I haven't yet been to Australia. Australia is still on my bucket list, so I might be going next year. I promise. I've been saying so for the past 4 years. And so hopefully I'll see what the hype is. But for me, there's nothing stand out about him. And I think they need to do better if they're going to get someone like Sydney interested. That's just my opinion. Then you have Mimi working out with Nico, and Nico is sort of trying to suss her out to see where she stands. Is she with Steph or is she with Dylan? And she's sort of saying she told Dylan what she wants in a guy, but Dylan is not grafting her. He's not putting in the work. So she doesn't see the need to continue to sort of try and wait around for Dylan, because she has Steph, who is doing everything she's asked for. And it's like, he's only doing everything you've asked for because he wants to be secure in a couple. If someone that's his type, or if somebody else walks in that he likes, he's going to leave you. Whereas with Dylan, he's very laid back, but him being laid back, maybe he's trying to suss out to see what's going on. Maybe he doesn't feel the need to compete with Steph, and that's why he's sort of laid back. I think I don't know. I think Mimi doesn't know what she wants. I think she doesn't know what she wants. I think she wants the guys to be fighting for her. And I think the reason why she coupled up with Steph, or why she pushed Steph to couple up with her, was she was hoping that Dylan would fight for her. And Dylan in himself is just laid back and has just decided to wait and see where the cards fall. And so after talking to Mimi, you have Nico pull Dylan for a chat, and he asks Dylan, are you still interested in Mimi, or are you done? Do you want to graft somebody else? And Dylan says, no, I am interested in Mimi, but I am trying my best. And he's told, I've spoken to Mimi and she said, you are not grafting her. The only person grafting her is Steph. And this is why she's sort of putting her eggs in Steph's basket. And if you're not careful, she's going to leave you. And so you need to actually do the graft and do the work and make the changes that she's asked you for, if you really feel that you're serious about her and if you really feel like you see a future with her. So I think Mimi is playing both guys. I think she likes Dylan. I don't think she likes Steph. I think she likes Dylan, and I think she's only with Steph just because she's trying to make Dylan jealous. And I think she felt that by coupling up with Steph, Dylan was going to fight for her. But instead, Dylan is laid back and he's decided to take a step back and allow Mimi to sort of explore that connection and see if there's anything there. The only problem for Mimi is if a bombshell walks in, that is Steph's type. Steph is going to bounce. Whereas with Dylan, he seems more sort of concrete, more secure, in the sense that if she couples up with him and if they both graft each other, then he's going to stay loyal. Whereas I think Steph is only as loyal as you'll throw him. Otherwise, after that, he's bouncing to the next girl. So Mimi sits down for a conversation with Dylan, and she's sort of expressing her frustrations at the fact that, he hasn't pursued her the way she expected him to pursue her, even though he promised her that he would. And so he expresses that he's frustrated with himself. Here's what I think. I think Dylan, out of respect for Steph, didn't want to sort of come across as though they were fighting over the same girl. That's the impression that I get, because he was grafting Soph up until Steph sort of stepped into the equation. Then he took a step back and sort of decided to sort of just watch and see what happened with that situation. That's the impression that I get, that he didn't want to be a brother fighting another brother for a girl on a TV show. And I think this is why he laid back and waited to see if Mimi was going to come back to him. And when she seemed more interested in Steph and was spending more time with Steph, that's when he realized that I'd rather not be that guy that's fighting over a girl with another person that looks like me. And so when she broke things off with him, it was really sad for him, because I feel like he really didn't get the shot that he deserved. She didn't give him the shot that he deserved. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's in your best interest. You have to do what serves you best, because you're only on the show for yourself. So after they broke up, you had him sort of, Mimi immediately ran and told Steph that she's broken things off with Dylan. And for me, it's like, you're going to regret this decision. I would rather the devil I know than an angel I don't, because the problem is Steph appears to be an F boy as per definition. And so for him, he likes Mimi because Mimi is the only person that he's attracted to. At the moment, if they bring in a girl that he's attracted to, he's going to bounce and leave Mimi. And sadly, Mimi, by then, Dylan will have moved on and she's going to be left single. And I hope she's not dumped out of the villa, because I would love her to stay in the villa. Anyway, so you have Dylan pull Sophie for a chat. When she initially came in, he didn't graft her, well, because he told her the truth and said, anyway, so you have Dylan pull Sophie for a chat. When she initially came in, he didn't graft her, well, because he told her the truth and said, I promised Mimi that I wouldn't graft anybody else until I'd finished my conversations with her. So this is why I've decided to sort of stick with her. But now she's ended things, and I've decided to sort of see if there's anything still stuck between me and you. And the age gap is quite good. Anyway, she's 22, he's 25. She seems more mature for a 22-year-old. And so I think they would work. I love that they share the same love languages. I love the fact that it wasn't any one of them sort of pulling out information from the other or saying, you know, you need to graft me or you need to do that. It was just natural and organic. So I really loved that for them. After the chat, you know, Sophie asked for a hug and she was telling the girls, she even told Dylan that you're my type, just so you know. And so if Dylan is your type, what are you doing with Zayn? What are you doing with Zayn? That's a question. Anyway, you have Hannah saying, oh, I am worried because maybe he's just grafting her just because, you know, he's single. And it's like, he has to do that. He has no time to sit and moan his relationship with Mimi. He has to graft someone. Otherwise, he's going to go home. And I still feel Indigo is better served. I don't even know on what show he's better served, but I don't think Love Island is it for him, because most of the girls on Love Island are always older and they're going to appreciate a more mature guy. And Dylan comes across as that. So I have a feeling that Sophie is going to dump Indigo and be left with Dylan. That would make sense, especially to someone like me, but hey. So the islanders get ready for the night, and you have, obviously, Indigo thinks he's very secure in his couple, so he's not bothered that Sophie's head is going to turn, even though she started having chats with Dylan. And it's like, boy, you don't know what you're dealing with. You are cute, yes, but I don't think you're cute enough to overtake Dylan. Sorry about that. Anyway, the islanders pick up their drinks, and then you have people go for the chat. So you have Dylan by the fire pit with Zayn and Zanti, and they're sort of encouraging him that if he really likes Soph, then he needs to go and pull her for a chat. He can't continue to just sit back and wait for people to make moves. He needs to start making moves in the villa. Sophie's sitting, she's having a conversation with Indigo. Indigo thinks they're good because he's holding on to a bum. And as soon as Dylan makes a move, you can see Sophie's eyes are following him, as though she's sort of trying to get him to come and pull her away from where she's sitting. So he pulls her for a chat. And Indigo is taken aback because I don't think he expected that. Sophie was keen to go with Dylan. I think she just didn't want to drag him, but she was really waiting for that chat. So for him to pull her for the chat, and they really are cute when they're talking. I really like them. I think they're sweet. I don't know how well they'll work together, but they seem okay. I liked Dylan with Mimi, but I think Mimi wasn't sort of giving him the energy that he wanted. Whereas with Soph, I think she has that little vulnerability that he likes, and this is why it's easy for him to sort of have conversations with her. They spoke obviously about them as a couple and where they're going, and I like that Dylan laid out exactly how he felt about Sophie, so she knew where he stood, and then she wanted to kiss him. She wanted to kiss him. He wanted to kiss her. They shared a kiss. And you could see that she got excited. She really got excited because she said she's sweaty. She's got a tremor. She doesn't know what to say. And that's what you want. And she actually looked comfortable. She really looked into the kiss. And this was their first time kissing as compared to a kiss with Indigo. With Indigo, she was confused. She didn't know why that had happened. And she was just taken aback like, oh my God, this is a bit too much. Whereas with the kiss with Dylan, she really was into it. And she really was feeling him just as much as he was feeling her. So I love that for them. I really hope they work as a couple. Indigo was complaining, obviously, that his girl was stolen. And it's like, she's not really yours. She's just been waiting for somebody else to steal her away. She was waiting for Zayn. Zayn shut that door. So she wanted Dylan, but Dylan shut the door on day one and said, he promised Mimi that he would be all about Mimi, so he can't sort of turn his head. And so am I surprised that she's very keen on Dylan? No, I'm not. Even in her confessional, you could see that she was still excited about the case. Indigo, is worried, obviously, but he's trying not to show it. He's trying to just put on a brave face to say, no, I'm good. You know, we have a good connection, so nothing is going to happen. And it's like, well, wait for recoupling then. And then you have Tommy having a conversation with Sydney. I think Sydney is just going to tolerate this guy because she's being paid to be on the show. That's my opinion, because at the moment there's no one for her, and I think the only person that she might have been in a couple with are either Dylan, Steph, or Zayn, and Zayn shut her down. So unless they bring in a good-looking bombshell, at the moment she'll have to make do with Tommy, because I think none of the guys have sort of paid her attention. I think most of the guys are trying to stay clear of her, and I think they're trying to avoid the edit of being with her just because they want to stay on the show. That's the impression that I get. So the islanders receive a message to gather around the fire pit, and they are informed that once they've sort of the god and the goddess have picked, they lose their power to sort of recouple it at their whim. So everyone will be in a couple by the time Sophie leaves. So you have Steph be the first one to pick. It's a given. It's a given he was going to pick Mimi. There's no two ways about it. I think Dylan didn't like the idea of fighting somebody else for the same for a girl and then not getting the girl that he wanted. So this is why he took a step back. So having done that, this allowed, you know, Steph to do as he pleased, and he went for the girl that he wanted. He picked Mimi. Mimi seems happy to have been chosen by Steph, and for me, I know it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time. If somebody that's Steph's type walks into the villa, Steph said it's going to be turned. There's no two ways about it. He's happy at the moment because Mimi is the only girl that he likes, but I have a feeling that his head is going to be turned. Next up is Sydney. Sydney chooses to go with Tommy. Do I think that was a good idea? Not really, but she had no choice. Her hands were tied. This is the only guy in the villa at the moment who's entertained her or who's given her a chance. So I'm not surprised that she sort of went with him. Do I see them working long term? No. I think she'll be annoyed. I think she will be annoyed and she will eventually dump him. So she's just putting up with him because she's being paid to like someone, and so he's the one she's chosen to like. You have Tommy be told that, you know, he was going to be the next person to pick, but because he's already been picked, the next person is Hannah. Hannah is playing the long game. Hannah is playing the long game, so obviously she was going to pick Nico. This is not a surprise to anyone. They've decided to play this thing and ride it out till the very end. I don't think they're compatible, but I think they're two people that are going to tolerate each other to keep each other on the show. Next up, we have M chooses to couple up with Taylor. Are we surprised? No. And the fact that they're giving each other pet names? No. Everybody wants to be the mummy and the daddy of the villa. And so because they no one said the mummy or the daddy of the villa, you are not leaving. So they are giving each other pet names. I feel that's another couple that's just riding it out till the very end. I don't think there's anything romantic that will last after the show ends, so I'm not buying it. Zanti picks to go with Zayn. Zanti is head over heels in love with Zayn. I don't know whether Zayn is there yet. That's my concern. And so hopefully she doesn't get her heart broken if he turns out that he's not interested. But she really seems all in, and she really seems to be smitten with this guy. She says she was happy to be coupled up with him and it was an easy decision. Asked if you really like him, and she sort of hid his eyes and said yes. So I'm not surprised by that. And lastly, it's Sophie. So Sophie has to choose between Dylan and Indigo. Indigo, this was not his show. I'm going to come out and say it. He is a good looking guy, don't get me wrong, but sadly the girls that are on the show need someone who's a bit more mature, and that's something that he lacks. It's not that he's not good looking, but it's just that he lacks the maturity. He should have grafted Sydney. The only problem is he's still 3 years younger than Sydney, and so I don't know how long that would have lasted. Anyway, you can see that Sophie wants to break down. She nearly breaks down, and then eventually she decides to couple up with Dylan. I was punching the air. I was excited for him because I want him to get this sort of Nate redemption story where Nate eventually found his person, and this is what I'm hoping for Dylan, that in coupling up with Sophie, that's his person. Her head is not going to turn and they're going to stay together. Mimi had to stand up and sort of console her because she was crying, because she was really that devastated that she had to send someone home. But at the end of the day, she felt she needed to make a decision for herself by choosing someone she could see a romantic future with. And I don't think Indigo expected this, because you could tell by the look on his face that he was shocked that he wasn't picked. And sadly for Indigo, this wasn't his show. Neither was it for Kane. I think the girls were not interested in anyone that looked like them, and maybe they should have come in as bombshells at a later date when a couple of girls had come in, but being OG guys, sadly they didn't stand a chance. So obviously you have Indigo feeling some type of way. The fact that he kept repeating that, oh, Dylan, it was a scramble for him. I hope he's genuine. And it's like, how do you know how he feels? You never expected Dylan to win the girl. You'd always thought you were going to win the girl. So the idea that he won the girl is not sitting well with you. This is why you're trying to make people sort of question whether Dylan is genuine. Dylan has shown is genuine in the sense that had he been grafting Mimi and then Mimi turned him down and then he ran and he started grafting somebody else, then it would make sense. But he wasn't grafting anyone. He wasn't grafting Mimi. He wasn't grafting Sophie until Mimi told him that she was moving on. That's when he started grafting. So for me, that shows he's genuine. Had he been running around to every single girl in the villa and sort of grafting them, then it would be something else. And it actually took Zanti and Zayn sort of pushing him for him to go and graft Sophie a second time. Anyway, you have Indigo leave. It's sad. It's a pity you couldn't find this person, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. You have Mimi having a conversation with Sydney and sort of saying, oh, just imagine if she had picked Dylan, she would have looked like a fool because she didn't know about the kiss. And it's like, how are you going to pick him when you broke things off with him? He never kissed her before you broke things off with him. After you broke things off with him, he was single, so it was fair game. So you have no leg to stand on. You decided to move on, and that's it. Anyway, they get into bed, and you have Sophie talking about wearing sexy nighties. She really needs to wear sexy nighties. Sophie is on cloud 9. She is excited to be sharing a bed with Dylan. Mimi wasn't dressed sexually, but you could tell she felt some type of way about the fact that Dylan kissed Sophie, and I think this is why she agreed to kiss Steph in bed, because she was doing a tit for a tat, which is sad because it seems Dylan is happy and Mimi has lost her opportunity to win this guy, and once he's gone because she's saying, oh, he's the definition of an F-boy because of the way he moved so fast. No, he wasn't grafting anyone. You dropped him, and so he had to look for somebody else. So it is what it is. Keep it moving. Oh my God, in bed. Sydney, I think, chose this guy because she had no one else to pick, and she knows she needs to stay on the show. She knows she needs to get paid. So I think this is why she picked Mr. Tommy Eggman. Anyway, the lights go out and everybody's making out, including Mimi. Mimi is in trouble with Steph. Steph is going to dump her when the new bombshells walk in, because there are 2 new bombshells coming in, and I have a feeling he's going to dump her for one of those. And it's going to be a pity that she dropped Dylan, and I want Dylan to stay where he is, because he needs to stay where he's appreciated and is valued. Dylan was going into town with Sophie because he went, oh my God, and I thought, what is this girl doing this to this boy? Please, 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 please don't let us have another Nate and Georgia situation in the hideaway. I'm not ready for that. Zanti and Zayn were kissing. This is normal for them. Hannah and Nico are kissing, that's normal. Taylor and M, that's normal. The only couple that wasn't making out in bed was Sydney and, the egg boy, but there's no way Sydney was going to make out with him. She's in a couple with him for convenience. We all know that. And when a bombshell, that's her type, walks in, then she's going to make moves. But at the moment, I don't think so. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 8. Bye guys.